This is a continuation of the previous video I made on a dartless corset. Please don't forget to visit the previous video on the drafting, and yeah, this is this part 2 of the dress. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. So the first thing I do is to bring out all my prep fabric, just like I said in my previous. I'm gonna hairstyle everything. I'm gonna prep every fabric. So this is me trying to to show you everything I did. So this is my cupped side, and yeah, I just did the normal cotton hairstyle on both lining, satin, and the only thing I did not apply hairstyle on is the sequin. So I go ahead, to join this front part together. So the reason why I'm trying to join it together is because I'm trying to, shape the dress. And the reason why I want to shape this dress is because I don't want a situation that will be boning on my sewing allowance. So I didn't add much allowance to this dress, just 1 inch. So I just, just shape according to your measurement, your bust and your waist. Or if you just added 1 inch allowance, you can just, take out the 1 inch allowance and just shape it down. So this is me connecting the waist to the bust side and the waist to the hip side. So you can just follow through, the shaping process. So now I figured out the way that I want to bone my my fabric. So for this other side, I'm gonna bone in this direction that I'm trying to show you. Yeah, let me just go ahead and show you again. I'm going to just bone straight for the satin, which is the right side. So on my lining, I'm going to be boning the other direction on the lining. So please do not forget. So for the fabric, I'm going to bone straight, but for the lining, I'm going to bone in the other way. That is, I don't know, maybe horizontal. Well, because I don't want to get keep, I'll just go ahead and just show you. I want to tell you all something. There is something about YouTubing that some people do not understand. This is not an easy job, especially people that have not been monetized. So the only thing that gives us encouragement is when we see your engagement. Yeah, so please just engage in our posts. Like this will help us, to put out more videos there. Thank you. Subscribe, please. So this is what I just do my front parts and the back side. So I just have to roll those bones, straight, just like I did. So this is just going to give you a guide on where to stitch and where not to stitch, because now we're going to be inserting bones or those lines. So you don't want a situation where you'll be sewing on your bone. You get, so that's why we have to to shape it first. You know, to see the line. Though even if you don't want to shape it, but just see what you are doing. You get, sometimes you can just go ahead to shape it so that you'll be very sure. But if you're not, if you know you can just be accurate with your boning, without going into the same allowance, then fine and good. You can just use this method and just do everything to be fine. So I'm done with the front part, which is the satin part, and this is the lining part. So you see the direction at which I'm going to bone the lining part. So it's just like I'm trying to to make the two sides to be opposite of each other, so that by the time I will join these two fabrics together, there will be no space. Everything will just be ganga. Everything will just come out thick and solid. So I have my previous video on how to bone with regening bone. I had to techniques to to work with regening bone. So for this tutorial, I'll just use a very simple method. So I'll just trace the line, cut the bone, and then seal up the edge with this lighter so that it won't be poking on your skin. And please don't forget, do not cut it in this way, so you don't have to struggle a lot to keep the surface smooth. So you see, and as I was saying, I left like 1 inch downward, so that because I'm still going to give this cloth a shape. Okay, I'm still going to give it further shape. So this is what it looks like at the satin parts. So I'll just go ahead and bone every line, front and back. So this is what the front part looks like, and all looking out clean. And this is the direction that I actually bone. So for the lining part, this is the direction that I boned. Like the bone was on, like the curvy part was on top in this way. You understand? So yeah. Then for the for the front part, the covering part was in the other direction. Just look at it and understand, please. So you see what I'm trying to say? If the two of them come together, it will just form like like a block. So it won't like easily suppress down or go down. So that's the reason why I just did that. So nothing else. So these are my cups. So the next thing I do is to figure out the right direction to stitch my cups together so that I'll be very accurate. Just like we did in our cutting, the arrow side that will face each other. So please, you can go back to the previous video and watch. Thank you. Sorry, yo, that I'm sounding this way, though, please. Okay, so I go ahead to iron all my bone fabrics and the front part. I sprinkle water on it, and iron. So at this part, this is what I enjoy doing most about corset because I just love the fact that if I iron this thing, to just go down. So the iron I'm using is a gas iron. For some of you that are following me on TikTok, you'll see where I actually posted something about this iron, and so far my experience with this iron have been so wonderful. And because it's gas iron, I don't need electricity. While using it, I just connect it to my cooking gas, and it does the job wonderfully well. Okay, so this is me trying to iron out the entire thing. This is actually the front parts. Okay, so when I'm done ironing this front part, do you know the next thing I do is to um to place my hemming gum on it side by side. So why we placing this hemming gum? Because I want to place my sequin on this satin part so that it will be glued together as one. Okay, just imagine that you do this both on the front side and at the lining part. The entire corset will look dartless all through, in and out. It will even be as if there is a stitch across any of the fabric. Okay, so this is just the method. Not like if you have stitches on yours that it won't work well, it will, but then this is dartless, and yeah, I'm just trying to know to just do like that so that I will not have stitches running across there. Yeah, thank you. So I'll go ahead and iron all this out, and yeah. So while ironing it, I was just trying to avoid the hemming gum as as careful as I can, even though I know I can avoid it completely. And don't forget, if you have stain on your iron, the best way to clean it up is with chalk. Like I was shocked that it worked. Like I saw it on TikTok and I was marveled that it actually worked. So this is the front part and the back part that I've done so far, and it's coming out nice and I love it. So I also go ahead to iron out my cup area just the way you can see. But for this cup area, I didn't go ahead to this thing that they normally use a hairstyle to seal up that hemming area on the cup. I didn't do it on the fabric. Reason because I wanted the cup for the fabric, not the lining though, to be a bit stretchy. Like I wanted to to manipulate it easily. So if I use that hairstyle to seal up the hemming area, it will give me the stretchiness that I need. So I did it just for the for the lining parts. And yeah, that is, I don't know, I didn't go for any upgrade though. That this is just me figuring things out the way that I best. Okay, so I don't know if I'm wrong, but it's working for me. So now this is what it looks like inside, but I'll go ahead and trim out all those bulges there. Yeah, because I think the bulges on this cup will make it less you know relaxed, so I have to just trim it out. All right, the next thing I do is to just mark out all my bony channels on my cup. Okay, so this I'm actually going to cage it, which is not you know compulsory, though it's also important depending on the method you are using. But so I decided to draw those lines and cage it, and this is the result that I got. So after caging, there's something else important that you need to know, that you need to layer those caged area with hairstyle. So because I couldn't buy fiber in the market, I have to use like 10 layers of this hairstyle on each cup. Yeah, I ironed out 10 layers. So this is what 10 layers looks like. It's very thick, you know. So you see, after I'm done ironing the 10 layers, this is what I got from trimming it out. So if I cover it up with this cup, it gives me a better effect. All right, so I'll go ahead, to join the cup and the lining part, the front, that's the fabric and the lining part of the cup together with a hemming gum. So I this hemming gum is just so that it can hold it in place once I'm done stitching. So I'll go ahead and to notch this area properly so that it will be easy for me to just flip out and have a smoother edge on the cup. So it avoids bulkiness. So once I'm done, notching and flipping over, I'll go ahead and fold this fabric side by half inch, so that by the time I'm going to join this cup to the fabric, to the front part of the corset, it will come out neater. You understand? So this is the result of what it looks like when I'm done. And the next thing I do is to also iron out that area that I stitched first together, so that it will also come out better. So once I'm done ironing this part, the next thing I do is to to hold my yokes together. In my previous video, I tried to explain to you how you will stitch around your yoke, because this particular dress I'm making is a sleeveless dress. And because it's sleeveless, I'm not going to attach sleeve to this dress, and it's just going to be just the yoke. So I'll just, after I'm done, I'll just go ahead and iron my yoke out. And don't forget that my back and my front yokes are joined together. So the next thing I do is to to shape my dress. Don't forget, this is where those line comes to play. And yeah, once I'm done shaping, the next thing I do is to notch the area, so it will to be a bit flexible, and also trim mat. I don't even need allowance in this dress, or I don't need allowance, because number one, I'm gonna tie it. It's going to be tieable at the back, so it can enter the person. Okay, and the person is not even a plus size. So I'll go ahead and iron out the same areas for the front lining and the back too. So when I'm done, I'll use hairstyle to overlay this um fabric in this manner. Please don't forget, why this is important. It's important because it keeps that area a bit thicker. You understand? It doesn't like flip, it doesn't like fall easily, it just stands like effortlessly. Even when you press it, it gives you that bouncing, standing effect. So yeah, that's just it. So if I do this on the fabric, I also do the same thing at the lining part. And while folding it, you know, I also iron it in a direction that it won't really have much problem when I'm inserting the, the lining inside. See as it is now. See the way I ironed it out on the front part, and it's sitting pretty well. I'm also going to show you how I ironed the back part. You see, after doing this, I didn't iron it in the other direction. I just ironed it just this way. You get? So by doing that, if I'm putting this if I'm inserting this lining in my fabric, it just slots in. I don't know, just okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you. See, it just slots in, it just enters easily without much effort. So that's just it. So this is me trying to show you what I actually meant. So the next thing I do is to join the fabric and the lining part together in a sort of a V shape, so it will look like a sweetheart kind of shape. So when I'm done stitching this up, the next thing I do is to notch it. So you can go ahead and stitch it with a hemming gun so that you can just iron. But for mine, I don't want to cut through the hemming gun because I know I'm going to notch it in a small way. So I just notch and trim out the excess, then flip it inside out, then proceed to iron it out. So see me trying to insert my hemming gum inside effortlessly. That is it. So after ironing, I have my good shape intact. So once I'm done ironing it out, this is what it looks like at the back side. So it's sitting pretty neat. So the next thing I do is to, to join, to hold these fabrics together and attach my yoke. That is my back yoke. So my back yoke is going to join with the back satin. That's where you are meant to attach it. So if you are following through my cutting process, this will definitely not be a problem for you. You already know where this yoke is coming out from. So you stitch it up at the both side. So I'll just go ahead and pin it up so as to avoid making mistakes. So when you pin it up, this is what I actually mean. So I'll just hold this back side together so that I'll not confuse you guys on the side that I'm actually. So I go ahead to flip the lining parts, I'm fixing the front part of the sequence, and in that way we stitch it up. That means the two net is inside, so I stitch up with a hemming gum so that by the time I turn it up, I'll have a good finish. And I also went ahead to trim out the excess at this area. So this is me turning it inside out, and this is the smoother finishing that we have. So you can still go ahead and iron, iron this place out. So once I'm done ironing it out, this is what it looks like, and I'll just go ahead and stitch up the cup side, so I will have a smoother and joined together fabric, you understand. Then I just trim out the excesses. Yeah, so this is the result of what we have. And after this, I will just open up this material and the lining, and I will insert, carefully hemming gum throughout the entire fabric. So when I'm fixing this hemming gum, you have to take your time, insert it very well, one by one inside, so that when you iron this sequin and the lining part will stick in together as one. It won't be shifting up and down. Okay, so once I'm done, this is just me trying to make sure that I iron everything out. So once I'm done ironing, I will just go ahead and show you what this looks like. So I'll also now go ahead to trace out the midpoint of this my my blouse. So this midpoint, from here I can now trace out the shape that I actually want. At this point, it's not me to tell you the shape that you want. You're the one to decide the shape that you want. So I decided the shape that I wanted, and this is what I wanted. So I folded it into two at the midpoint because I don't want to cut different thing altogether. I don't know if you know. I don't want to cut different shape altogether because I want the left and the right side to all have similar shape. You understand? Please, at this point, if you have not subscribed to my channel or you've not even dropped a like, it's not fair. Oh. Please drop a like, please. So I'll just go ahead and trim out the area that I actually marked, and for me to to trim the back side, I will just open it up, then go ahead and flip it back, you know so as to lay it flatter, and trim out the back side. So at the back side, I will just kind of let it, I just want to blend it up, you understand. So I just have to trim that area to just blend everything up. So that was it. There was not much design or drama at the back side. So yeah, after I'm done cutting, this is what the shape looks like. I'll just go ahead and show you what it looks like on my mannequin. It's looking crazy, and this is actually beautiful. So I also have a video on how to make a modesty panel for this bag. At this point, it's something that you just need to go back and watch. So this is me trying to attach the cup. So you see the way I flip in that middle part inside the cup, and stitch the fabric to the lining part of the cup, to the cup side. You understand? So as I'm sewing, I'm adjusting the pad. As I'm sewing, I'm adjusting the pad. So I sewed this throughout the entire the entire circle of the cut. So this is what we have. So the reason now we iron this out, so that when we flip it inside out, we'll have a neater finish. So I'll go ahead and trim out all these excesses, so that by the time we are going to be flipping down the fabric, it will not be too bulky. You understand? So after trimming it out, I'll just go ahead and flip it down. So the reason why I didn't hairstyle this fabric is I wanted it to be a bit flexible. I wanted it to move, something that I can pull down and it will just obey. You understand? So that was the major reason. So I have to just start adjusting and stitch it all through. So once I'm done stitching, this is the result of what I get. So do not forget that we didn't put any breast pad in this dress. So this is just how it's turned out to be. So the next thing I do is to, you have seen that I've added my modesty panel. So go and watch my previous video on how to attach a modesty panel to a dress. So the next thing I do is to cut out my bias strip. So you all can go check my video too on how to cut and stitch a modesty panel, because I can't do everything in one video. I already have videos of all this, so I'm sorry, you need to go back, or you start going. No, wait, after this video you can just go back. Okay, so I'll use it to stitch around all that, and yeah, this is what we have. So after this, I will just kind of iron it out properly. I think this is going to be the last iron I'm gonna do on this dress. Okay, so I will just show you how the inside part looks like. It turned out very neat, and do not forget that he who teach learns twice, and engagement in this pose will be highly appreciated, though in a very constructive manner. And I also love you guys to please subscribe to my channel. As a small YouTuber, the only way I can get encouragement is through your engagement and follow up feedbacks. I really appreciate that. So I'll just go ahead and attach the sleeve of this dress. So I didn't actually show you guys previously on how the sleeve that I'm going to attach to this dress, but actually I wanted to make this dress sleeveless, but I later changed my mind to just attach a little sleeve. So I will go ahead and mark fold this fabric into 4. I mark 2 and then 4 inches. Then from there I connected it straight to 7 inches, then marked it up straight like that. So this kind of sleeve is going to be like a dropping sleeve. So if you are cutting a dropping sleeve, it will be sort of a bit like as if you're trying to fold a peplon. You understand? So yeah, so when you are done cutting out, I'll just go and I open it up and try to fit it on my mannequin to know how it looks like. So me now dropping it on my mannequin, I already see that I will not like that sharp edge to be pointed out. I'll just like it to go down, so I'll just trim it down. So I didn't know it wasn't recording when I trimmed it down, so I trimmed it down this way, so that when I attach it to my dress, it will sit very nice. So I go ahead to prep the fabric with hairstyle, then stitch in this direction I'm showing you. After stitching in this direction, I will also go ahead to notch it and trim, and after notching and trimming, I will go ahead to flip it inside out. So when I'm done flipping inside out, I also go ahead to iron it, the both of them. I'll iron it very well, and at the edge part that I flipped it from, I kind of folded it inside. Yeah, so inside, if I fold it inside this one, I'll just stitch it up, so that I'll have a neat finishing at the end of the day. So when I'm done stitching up, I'll just go ahead to iron it out. And yeah, that is it for my sleeve. So the next thing I do is to figure out the best way to attach this sleeve. So but before then, I'll just try and hold the yoke, the front yoke together. I wanted to drape this yoke on my client body, but my client said that she won't be coming for fitting, because she traveled. So I have to go ahead to just fit it on myself and figure out the best way to attach the yoke. So you can decide to use your hand to tack in this the yoke on the dress, or you can attach it at the back. For me, I attached it from the back. So you see me trying to figure out the best way to lay this yoke very well. So you see why it's good to also use the stretchy part, especially if you're not really sure about your client's body. So I can really stretch it down and adjust it the way it will fit in perfectly. So yeah, I feel like the yoke looks better, and yeah, I'll just go with that direction and tack it down. So I went ahead to also, fit it a little. I didn't tie it, but I was just holding the back. So I tried to fit it. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. So now I tried to, attach my sleeve. So I attached my sleeve right on the cup after the net. So I'll just, pin it and stitch it in on the machine. Then for the back side, I actually attached it like an inch and a half after the back net. That's the armhole side. So I've already stitched the other part. So I've had to open it up to confirm the place I actually stitched it. So I brought it down a little to to further stitch it on that direction. So once I'm done attaching the sleeve of this dress, so this is what it looks like. You can go ahead and fix the eyelet of this dress. At the yoke part, you can just pull your your hook and eye to hold the yoke back together. So I'll go ahead to fit this dress on my mannequin. So as in, is this not beautiful? This is so gorgeous. And please not forget that if you're interested to own this dress, I'm still available to take your order though. See you all in my next video. Bye.